Let's talk about the NFL to wrap up this podcast. We have 10 quarterbacks that we want to say that we're going to mention, and we're going to talk about where we think they're going to end up before the 2022-23 season kicks off. You ready, Sam?
Oh, I am so ready. How are you going to order this? You're going to start from like hottest name to coldest name, or you going to sprinkle them?
I was just going to do random.
All right, sprinkle them. Go for it.
So we'll start with a big name guy.
Oh, how big of a name is this?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay. We're starting. All right, we're starting with the biggest. All right.
So where do you think Aaron Rodgers will be next season?
Green Bay.
Nice. I like it.
I think he's staying. I'll let you answer, then we'll talk about it.
I think Aaron Rodgers is going to retire.
The thing is, Aaron Rodgers has too much of an ego to retire in the same offseason as Tom Brady. There is just no way he retires in the same offseason as Brady. I just can't see it. There's just no way. I'm sorry, but I can't see it.
We'll have to see. I think it's a strong possibility. Just kind of a gut feeling in the sense. I think it's either obviously he goes back to Green Bay or he retires, but just because of kind of what I don't want to say what I've been seeing, because obviously we can't really interpret anything that's been happening, but a lot of it's just I think he's going to retire, which is crazy because the two MVP candidates are going to retire after their seasons, which would be unbelievable.
Yeah, like, I mean, I also agree. I think it's going to be Green Bay or retire. After the season, I was campaigning for him to get traded. But I still kind of believe that. But if they kept him, I'm not going to be mad, obviously, because it's the MVP. But the thing is, like, everything that's come out since then has like led me to believe, yeah, he's not getting traded and the Packers are bending over backwards to have him back. So I've kind of just accepted the fact that he will probably be staying if he's going to still play football. So I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it. I mean, I love Aaron Rodgers and I think he's a fantastic player and an MVP. He's a 4-time MVP, the second player to win 4 MVPs in NFL history. But yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be Packers or retire. I do think he at least plays one more year. So it's going to be interesting to see how this offseason plays out because we had that whole thing today. It's sounding like it's tough because like leading up to yesterday, let me just break down my Packers emotions over the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Right after San Francisco game, I want to trade him. I want to rebuild. Okay. I kind of held that for about 2 weeks. And then like all the news started coming out that he's like, or not. Yeah. All the news started coming out that he's like happy and all that. I was like, all right, well, keeping him, I'm cool with. We'll run it back. Awesome. And then I was kind of like, if we trade him, cool. We can try with Jordan Love. If we trade him and Love sucks, cool. We could use the 9th pick and draft someone. I don't care because I'm assuming it's Denver. And then if we keep him, cool, because we'll still be a Super Bowl contender or at least a playoff team. But the one that always sucked most for me is him retiring because that means we are fucked for at least a year. We can't reload that fast. But I don't know, man. I think he's going to play at least one more year. I just have a hunch. He knows how good of a player he is. And I just don't think he would want to end it the same year as Brady. Like, I just don't think he does. And I think he has that drive to at least give it one more shot because that last dance mentality, he was like, oh, we're going for it. We're really going to go for it. And then it like falls short this hard. Imagine trying to, and falling short, knowing that you underperformed because he knows he did not play well in that game against San Francisco. like falling short in that regard and knowing that you were a part of falling short, I think that's going to leave a little bit of drive left in him to try and continue his career at least one more time with the Packers. Because I don't see him playing. Because I actually agree with you. I don't think he's going to play for that much longer. I think he'll play 1, maybe 2 or 3 years. That's getting lucky. And I just don't see him being like, oh, I want to get traded and I'm only going to play 1 or 2 years with this team. I just don't see him doing that. I think he'll stay. If he's going to do that, he will do that in Green Bay because of comfortability's sake. Sorry, I talked way too much there.
You're good. I just realized something too. We did not have Wentz on our list. Do you want to add him in?
Yes, we can add him in.
All right,
yes.
Sounds good. So we'll now have 11 instead of 10. All right, moving on next. He's
so forgettable.
Yeah,
so.
he just sucks, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. Deshaun Watson. I'm going to make this quick. On the couch.
I agree. I don't think he plays next year.
I don't think he does. And I still think it's silly for teams to take so much of a gamble on a guy who we have no idea what his off the field status looks like. No teams are going to willingly give up so much assets for it like Houston's asking for. And rightfully so, because he's a great player. We'll move on now to our first rookie, Kenny Pickett.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Washington.
I'm really happy with that. I think Pickett screams Carolina at 6. I think because how I see it is Matt Rule will make a decision similar to Jay Gruden did with Haskins, to where it's not the best situation long term, but a situation to save his job in Carolina. And he understands he can't win with Sam Darnold. I think he's going to take a gamble on Kenny Pickett. He has the ties to Rule already. That's my thing.
But drafting a quarterback at 6, man, I don't know about that in this draft.
But what do we always say come draft night? We're like, teams will get greedy, especially when it comes to QB. And I think Carolina is going to understand, look, let's just take the bait, or not bait. Let's just take the pressure that we're going to get. Let's just take Pickett. That's how I think it's going to go. So we'll see. It'll be interesting.
I got Washington for him though, but I think Washington's going to trade up for him. That's what I think is going to happen.
I would be perfectly fine with Pickett's in Washington.
How far would you trade up though?
No more than like 8.
Who's that 8?
It's a great question.
I think it's the Jets. No, the Jets are at 10.
Draft
Chicago. No, they're at 7.
All right.
My God, why can't I think of it?
Jacksonville, Detroit, Houston, New York, then the Giants, and then the Panthers, Giants, Falcons.
Yeah. You could do that.
And then the Broncos are at 9, so maybe we jump them if they don't get a veteran or go through free agency through that. But we'll talk about them in a second. Moving on, Kirk Cousins. I think he stays in Minnesota.
I agree.
Cool. Russell Wilson.
This one's interesting.
He should be a commander. That's all I have to say. He's our commander in chief.
Is that your prediction?
No.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
Sam, I've had an argument with my dad over the last couple of days.
Oh, okay.
Regarding what we should do at QB, because Carl, him being the old head he is, no, I'm kidding. But he's always like, oh, what's he thinks of it as like you can form a really good roster around like an RA quarterback, which I'm the complete opposite. I think you need an elite quarterback and able to contend. So I'm like, we need to go all in on Russ. I don't care if it's a couple first round picks. I don't care if it includes Chase Young. That's the price you got to pay for an elite level quarterback. Is like, no. Like he's on the route of like he loved the Fitzpatrick move last year because it was a safe option. He thought we can make no, and I'm like, no. So I really want Washington or the Commanders to really consider Russell Wilson, but I think he returns to Seattle.
I think if Russ gets traded, it is going to be to a contending team, like a Tampa or a New Orleans. I think New Orleans would throw the kitchen sink to get Russ. I don't know how they would get his contract, but I think they would try everything in their power to make that work. But yeah, I think he'll run it back one more year with Seattle and see how it goes next year.
Yeah.
Because this year, everything kind of went wrong for them. And then also at the end of the season, they kind of caught fire and got better. So I think that'll change his mind a little bit, and they'll see how it goes next year.
Cool. All right. Matt Corral. I think this is going to be a weird prediction. I think he ends up on the Saints.
I had him going there in my mock. Or no, did I have him going to Pittsburgh or there? I don't remember. Yeah. Man, this one's tough. The thing is, I don't know if I think the Saints are going to get a veteran or a rookie, because I could see either or for them.
Well, yeah, we'll get there in a second, but I have like further explanation on what the Saints are going to do when we get to Jameis.
Yeah, I can agree with your take then. I'm taking way too long on this. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think I'll agree with you. I don't feel great about it. I do think he gets drafted in like the 20s. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
I do think Tennessee's a sleeper for Matt Corral, though. I'm just saying that.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have Teddy Bridgewater.
I'm gonna get so much hate for saying this. I think he's staying.
Okay.
I think he's gonna stay in Denver. I think they're gonna draft a guy and they're gonna have Teddy in front of him for at least a bit.
I think he's gonna go to a team as a backup, but is a reliable backup, and that's to San Francisco.
Ooh.
Kind of just feeling that. Lance is going to be obviously the starter, which we'll get into when we talk about Jimmy G. But Lance being the starter, we've seen instances where these first, second-year guys kind of have a really solid veteran as their backup, just in case anything happens. I think we're going to see that again here with Teddy. I think he goes to the Niners, which would be kind of crazy.
I think that's interesting. I like that. That's a nice sleeper pick. Does he get traded there, or is he getting cut and then he signs there?
Cut.
Okay.
Well,
I think
the thing is, though, I guess I shouldn't be saying this. I don't have Denver on here
for anyone.
I guess I'm assuming they'll go down the route of rookie. But then even in that instance, maybe they would just re-sign him.
You don't have any of the top 3 rookies going to him, though.
That's you're right.
And they have picked 9. So, like, if they took like a Malik Willis, and then, I mean, as the Malik Willis fan club leader, as someone, I mean, Teddy being in front of him makes sense.
Maybe they go back to Locke.
Dude, there is a portion of Broncos fans that want to play Drew Lock. I'm not kidding. As a Packers fan that has been on so many posts of Broncos posting about Aaron Rodgers, I've seen so many Broncos fans and the replies be like, I don't want to trade for a 38-year-old MVP, 38-year-old quarterback. Just let Drew Lock play. And I was like, no, God, no, don't do that. All
right. Well, maybe I should have thought of this more, but fuck off. It don't matter. All right, moving on. Jameis Winston.
Nola.
I think he goes back to the Saints.
Yep.
So, like I said with Jameis earlier, I think that instance would put Jameis and Corral in a QB battle for the starting job, which I think would be really cool to watch.
If he's recovered by then.
Yeah. All right. Malik Willis.
I think Pittsburgh is trading the farm to go get him.
I think he's the commander.
Ooh.
The commander. He's the commander in chief. I would be a fan of that. I would like that.
I think Pittsburgh's gonna go get him. I think that the truth about Tomlin loving him is a fact.
Yeah,
I think that's true.
I can agree with that. Shame though, that Washington's gonna snag him. I mean, and that's
I mean, dude, the Najee Harris rumors about him to Pittsburgh was the worst kept draft secret last year. It started so early and then it never slowed down. The Malik Willis to Pittsburgh has already started. The Pittsburgh's front office just can't get over hiding anything.
I can see it.
I do wonder if Pittsburgh were to get Malik Willis, would they have like a starter in front of him for a bit?
Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins, the GOAT.
Look, Malik Willis is my QB1, but like I'm not comfortable starting him right away, at all. You got to let him sit for a year at least. But the thing, I think the Pittsburgh stuff is real. And we've seen if they get enamored with someone that they will go get them in recent years. We saw that with Devin Bush. They traded a lot to get from like pick 20 something to 10 to get Devin Bush. Now, obviously that was not a good trade because Devin Bush is stinky dog poo. But I think they would do that for a quarterback. I think they're going to jump Denver to get him. They're going to trade with Atlanta.
Dude, I am so excited for draft content.
I am too.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
And I can't watch film this year, which is going to suck. I'm very sad that I can't watch that much film this year.
I can't watch a lot of film either. I'll explain to you after the pod.
We'll have Sully do it.
God, no. All right. Jimmy G.
I've held this stance for so long, and I'm going to live and die by it. I think he's going to be a Carolina Panther.
I think he's a Colt.
I don't think that's a bad take.
I think Indianapolis kind of realizes they were obviously held back by Wentz last year. They started off strong, but he was really bad to end the year. Frank Reich has basically publicly stated he fucking hates everything about Carson Wentz, just not in the literal sense, just by everything like his body language.
Sense,
yeah. And I kind of compared the situation in Indy kind of similar to San Francisco. Very well-structured rosters, really solid defenses. And if you can have like a Jimmy G there in Indianapolis, no doubt about it, they're a playoff team. But the whole question is, can you go to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl with Jimmy G as their QB? But I think Indianapolis realizes it's an upgrade over Wentz. So
it's so complicated with the Colts because they don't have a first round pick to trade this year. So and they don't have a first round pick to use on a quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's complicated for what they can do. So that's going to be very intriguing to see how they decide to offload Wentz, if they're going to offload Wentz.
Yeah. When they offload Wentz. Speaking of Wentz, where do you think he's going?
I have no idea. I don't know who would want him. I'm genuinely serious. I think they're going to cut him and he's just going to be a backup. I think I'm serious about that. I don't think anyone's going to, I think the Bucs will maybe take a flyer on him if he becomes free. But I don't think anyone's going to actively try and get Carson Wentz in a trade or sign him.
Yeah. I said this team, but I kind of, as I think about it more, don't like it, but I need to give them a QB is Pittsburgh. But he just seems like a guy Tomlin would hate.
I agree.
So, but then I feel like they could also go down a route where you have Wentz and then you go down, if you trade up for Willis, I could see that happening if they can get Wentz for a cheap route. And obviously you'd have to complicate a lot of things in order for that to happen, but we'll see about that. So that's where we have all of the QBs ending up. It should be a fun couple of months ahead of us. We'll be sure to do our Fixer Upper series coming up where we'll have some NFL teams making some moves for some quarterbacks. We got draft content coming up. We got some drafts, not like NFL draft, but like off-topic drafts coming up. We got a lot coming up on the podcast, so make sure you guys are tuning in.